The following is a presentation of the Black Hollywood Live Network, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. Hollywood Redefined. From Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is Black Hollywood Live. Let's talk about sex. Featuring in-depth discussions on dating, intimacy, and relationships. Black Hollywood Live. Hollywood Redefined.
You're listening to Black Hollywood Live.
And now, the host of Black Hollywood Live, let's talk about sex.
Wait, we're gonna get it on time. On key this time. Let's talk about sex, baby.
Oh, we going same
Let's
way?
talk
Take it
about
out.
you
Same
and
way.
me. Let's talk about all the good things.
Here we go.
Things.
So sex, baby.
Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about sex.
Little baby, let's talk about sex. Little baby. Come on, smack it, baby.
We can't help it. We have to start the show off every single time grooving because you guys know Let's Talk About Sex is a classic. And what are we talking about today? Of course, sex, which is a classic. So
Never
today,
gets old. Never gets old.
Today we have a special show for you. We are going to dig into stereotypes of the female body and also exploring as well as the oversaturation and kind of the negative connotation that comes along with the female body in the industry and how it's exploited. And today on the panel, I'm your host, Spicy Madi, and I'm joined today by the amazing and oh so handsome and smart Kevin John sitting next to me.
Thank you. Spicy, I think that is the best intro you've ever given.
That was really good.
That was really good. I'm going to just clip that and put that in my reel.
Yeah, just put that in your reel.
Yeah, thank
And
you.
next to him, the beautiful, the phenomenal,
So cute. Dre
Renee.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We missed you last week.
I
We
know.
did.
I'm sorry that I was
We
not
did.
able to make it. I was on set, you guys. Projects in the works.
Okay.
And behold, next to me is the lovely and oh so sweet Phoenix White in the building.
Ow!
Sexy girl.
Get it.
And we are joined with our special guest in the hot seat tonight, who is going to be talking about his documentary that he created, Mind, Booty, and Soul, writer-director Michael Norville. Round of applause for Michael.
Nice picture.
Yes.
That is
The hair is on point in that photo,
Yeah.
Michael. You are looking awfully clean.
There's something about dreadlocks that always makes you look so intellectual.
Yeah, it does.
Seriously? Yeah, man, dreads just make you
With the
look so
glasses
sophisticated.
and the dreads?
Yes.
One of my ex-girlfriends said her stereotype is that people with dreadlocks are pretty dumb. So it's
What?
interesting.
Really?
Yeah.
I just think of incense and myrrh when I see you guys.
exactly.
East Coast.
I think at the beach.
More East Coast to me.
So, Michael, you are the writer and director for Mind, Booty, and Soul, and we want to dive into this. But before we start digging the dirt and where this project came from, where it initiated, we always start our show off with Hollywood Hotties doing the naughty, all right? And so we want to hear your input on this next topic that we're about to get into. Trey Songz, all right, is been featured on EUR Web and also I Date Daily. And there's an article written about him where he's been battling this stereotype and these awful rumors that he is homosexual. And unfortunately for a heterosexual man, they're very offended when you call them outside of their sexuality. If you're homosexual, that's fine, great, you embrace it. But when you're not, you take it very personally, and he had a little backlash for it. Somebody had apparently tweeted that, and hacked into his Twitter, they tweeted on his
they
behalf
hacked into it.
that, you know, finally I'm coming out of the closet, I'm admitting to being gay. And I'm, you know, finally telling my fans, all jokes aside, that I'm gay. So he didn't respond for a while because he didn't realize that this tweet was going on. It was being retweeted by many people. And then finally he does respond, and he says, if I'm gay, then Tupac bringing me an ounce for this session with Biggie tomorrow. No weapon, pound love, or hashtag love. So he replied with a sarcastic comment to retaliate, and was just trying to, instead of, you know, fighting with fire, this gay rumor, he decided to take the upper hand. So what do you guys think about this? How do you feel? Trey Songz, is it questionable? Do you believe him? Is it hard being, you know, a heterosexual man in the entertainment industry?
I feel that if Trey Songz really is gay, then it gives a whole new meaning to his hit song Bottoms Up. Like, seriously, it does. And with that being said, if I'm heterosexual and someone calls me gay, honestly, I would be kind of flattered by that. Because the reason I say that, before you start rolling your eyes, let me explain.
eye rolls here.
Before the reason I would say that is when someone think about everybody or a lot of stars that they've identified with being homosexual.
Okay.
Usually, it's for first of all, it's stars that dress very nice. Whether that's metrosexual or whatever you want to call it, but stars that are very well put together, handsome, make a lot of money, and look down the list from Will Smith to P. Diddy to
they've
some of
all
them
been called gay.
They've all been called gay. So that makes me know I'm in an elite field. If you think Kevin John is gay, I'll take it.
But I always just feel like these rumors come from somewhere, unless somebody did really just hack into his Twitter or whatever. But I always just feel like those rumors come from somewhere because there's certain people that you've never heard that they were gay. That's what I think.
That why do you have to even keep addressing it? Because I think everybody is called gay at some point.
Yeah.
Almost every celebrity I've ever heard of has been called gay at some point, or they heard about it. But him going to address it, I don't think that people have to always address it. And when they get angry, then it makes people question it even more, rather than saying, whatever, I'm not thinking about that. I got things to do.
He do look a little sweet in his photo.
Wow.
And
it doesn't make sense.
What is this whole hack? Like, you hear this a lot of times. People's Twitters
like
get
the
hacked.
Excuse for
like
everything.
Exactly.
I know. I'm like,
exactly.
that's what I was like,
do I even believe that anymore
That's
when
the
they say
PR cleanup.
Exactly. He was exhausted.
damage control? I guess.
But we haven't heard that hacking thing in quite some time. That used to be like a common thread for a while. But what I'm concerned with is, if somebody hacked, why did it take them a couple of days to respond? If somebody hacked into my thing and
you would know
my
right
friend
away.
would tell me right away, and I'd be like, oh, hold on, let me get on here. I think he was testing the waters, seeing how people would respond.
I think so
maybe
too.
he was trying to find
really?
like
Yes.
a little marketing trend so people can talk about it to become
Exactly.
trendy, and then maybe he got the backlash and said, let me put a halt on this. So
because why would it take a couple days? Why wouldn't you just get right on it?
That's why I'm suspicious.
Yeah, this story smells of fish all over it.
Okay,
I'm just
so
saying.
it might not have
Or
taken
not
a couple
fish.
days.
Or not. Yeah, right.
I don't know the exact amount of time that it took him to respond, though. I don't want you guys to focus so much on the time factor as why it's a reoccurring rumor, because this isn't the first time.
Oh, this isn't.
No, this is not the first time that he's been accused of being gay.
See?
And so it's to me, my concern is as an R&B singer, how do you battle talking about love, sex with your shirt off and being a sexual image at the same time, still keeping your masculinity?
R. Kelly has mastered that. Bobby Brown has mastered that.
Really? R. Kelly and
The
Bobby
true
Brown?
R&B kings have mastered that. That's all I'm saying. Now, when it comes to Miguel and some of these other soft singing R&B guys, I
Miguel.
can't. No, I'm just saying. I can't.
I like Miguel. Okay.
I like Miguel too.
I like
It's
Miguel.
funny. Great description. It's funny.
Yeah, but no, I'm just saying. Like, I think some of the hard R&B singers, there's no question. Now, we all know R. Kelly has a whole nother side to
That
him
was
that
Yeah.
is
use another
besides
example, maybe.
bestiality, maybe. But at any rate, as it pertains to this, I do think that certain people do not have that image because either A, there's really nothing there, because that's another thing that Phoenix was saying. I think sometimes when some of these rumors do come out, I'm not saying that they're 100% innocent, but I'm also not saying that they're 100% innocent. I think there is a root or something there that
there's
ignites it.
Smoke, there's fire.
Exactly, exactly.
And sometimes I think they add to this because I can't be politically correct. When it comes to Trey Songz, to me, I feel like he tries too hard. So like when you're seeing him, he's overdoing it. He's
Overly
naturally
sexual.
attractive. He's naturally all this stuff.
Always has his
Some
shirt
stuff-
off, greased up.
Some stuff looks like it's trying to be the image
Sexy.
of what it's supposed
Exactly.
to be. More so
Versus
than
just
just being
being-
sexy.
Right.
Because people who are just sexy, you don't really have to try. You don't have to do so
Great.
much. You don't
Just
have to
are.
walk up to somebody and lick your lips. You know what I'm saying?
It's almost as if he's like, I'm straight. I swear I am.
Just be cool, so and
Yeah.
that's what I'm a little biased on this, so I don't know. I can't say.
Well, Michael, you have like the inside when it comes to, even from the documentary that you created, as far as sexuality is concerned. I mean, is there a fine line between being too sexy, and where does that stop for male and female?
I think it's definitely a fine line. I mean, you kind of attract what you put out there, and when you look at women and, they're competing, there's a lot of competition, there's a lot of women out there. And so women are trying to have that edge. And sometimes they may go a little bit far, and instead of promoting sexiness and beauty, they promote sex. And then, the man is automatically going to look at that, and that's all he's going to think about is sex. He's not going to see the full circumference if she has a 360-degree personality. He's not going to really see
Right.
that. But I think women have to be careful. You know, they have to actually, you know, what's the word that used to be used a little bit? Clutchy. You know, a classy hoochie.
A classy? I've never
heard that either.
We're both
Is that old
Coochie.
school?
A clutchie.
Yeah, that's when
classy-
hoochie was like really
new.
big.
I think you just created the spicy tip for the day, Michael. Okay.
Yes.
If you are a classy hoochie, you are a clutchie.
I
and
like that.
and that is okay. You think
that.
that a clutchie is okay.
How could you be a classy hoochie? It
Yeah,
seems like a
explain.
contradiction.
But you know, it could be an oxymoron, but it's really not. We've seen women that
Yes.
can pull it off, you know, and the other person can't pull it off, you know.
So
Name
can
a
you name
classy
one?
hoochie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Who's
name
a
some-
famous classy hoochie?
Oh man, oh god, that's a really
Would
good one.
Superhead be one? No.
No,
That is she's
no,
not
No,
nothing
okay.
no.
classy
I'm just trying.
about
I mean,
her.
you
Maybe
know,
like
as-
Beyonce. Oh.
I know
as
who's a
far as
classy.
as
I know
far
who's
as
a
I don't
classy
like
hoochie.
Have you
her,
seen her recently? All right, sorry. Go
I
ahead.
would say Kim Kardashian. I don't really like her
Okay.
at all, but
Okay.
she does, especially before the pregnancy and the extra plastic surgery we seen. You know, Kim's a really cute person, you know,
Yeah.
and she really had the clothes that cater to her body very well.
Correct.
And so, you know,
Classy hoochie. Yeah, I can see that. Because she does, every outfit shows her body. She's definitely promoting her sexuality and selling sex, but
Literally selling sex.
literally selling
Literally.
sex.
Distributing it.
But at the same time, she is wearing, you know, clothing. She's trendy. It's fashionable. It's not. She doesn't look like a stripper when she steps out. It
Not at
still
all.
looks awesome.
Yeah.
A classy hoochie, or maybe a cluchie. Okay, do you guys watch the show Scandal?
Yes.
Of course.
So then,
Olivia Pope?
and
Oh, yes.
Would Olivia Pope
Yes.
be considered a cluchie? Because although she is
don't think
dressed
so.
I think
very,
so.
she's dressed to the nines. She's always in a suit, but it's a very fitted, booty showing,
And people call her a
tight
hoe.
fitted
They
suit.
do.
She's taken off her clothes on the show.
I think she's more
But we
classy
still
than
respect
hoochie.
her though.
I think
She's a mistress, and we still respect her.
I agree.
She's sleeping with the president, and Kevin respects her.
But see,
mean-
I do too.
You sleep with the president?
Respect her.
Because she's
You
a
know?
cluchie, though.
But I don't.
Kind-
I guess
yeah.
you have to define the word hoochie for me.
There you go.
Because
Okay.
in my mind, hoochie is very close to hoe. So
See, a hoochie to
I
me is just the way that you dress. A hoe is a hoe. You open your legs for anybody.
Okay,
but
see, I don't-
a hoochie just to me shows is you're showing skin oftentimes. You're showing your body often.
But what outfit doesn't really show your body without you looking bigger? Like if I wear baggy clothes, I look fat. You know what I'm saying? If I don't wear clothes that fit my body a certain way, that normally they're tight.
But you're not like showing
So
off
essentially,
your-
Phoenix, so I understand, you're saying anyone that wears tight, form-fitting clothes can, in this definition, be considered a hoochie.
yeah, I don't agree with that.
I don't either.
Well, there's several women
I think
who don't always have to show their body. If you
Yeah.
if you look at the way that Michelle Obama, she has natural curves, but they're not being exploited all the time.
Well,
She
she's
knows-
also the first lady. I mean,
Yeah,
she,
and she's
Okay,
older.
she's
but look at the-
restrictive.
okay, but look at the way that she's dressing. There's a
She's
lot
a
of
corset that's
women
fitted.
who can wear those kind of clothing and still feel comfortable. Like not everything has to hug to your skin.
Everything has
I
to hug
think,
to my skin.
honestly,
Now,
I respect that, and I love that.
I am defending the people who dress a little bit more loose, like a little bit more baggier.
Okay, now if I look around the table, you guys are all dressed extremely classy. Now, I mean, some of this stuff may be a little fitting, but it's classy. It's nothing hoochie that I see up here. So when I look at a hoochie, I think of somebody who is not just necessarily dressing provocative and showing cleavage and things of that sort, but could possibly be acting on that as well. You know, I think hoochie is very obvious. It's very transparent. Like there's no kind of, well, I don't know if she's a hoochie or
she's
not.
a hoochie, she's
You
a
know when you look at like,
Yeah.
Michael,
okay.
what do you think?
Well, I mean, you know, now hoochie is ratchet. You know, it's particularly obvious.
Back to that word.
Yeah,
Back
you know,
to the
it's like you
ratchet.
look at the shoes and then you look at the way the clothes are fitting and you're just like going, ugh, you know. And sometimes if you're a drunk man and you've had too many drinks, you'll be like maybe considering it. So, but my whole thing is like, I think that women need to really start dressing to their bodies. Like, I'm not going to be, you know, too bad, but sometimes fat girls just need to wear stuff that is cute.
We don't say fat, we say overweight.
Okay.
We don't say overweight, we say healthy. Go ahead.
But sometimes you can see what they're wearing. They're trying to be sexy. They're trying to be cute. They're trying to, you know, be maybe be Kim Kardashian or some of these other women, you know, Jennifer Lopez or whatever. And the clothes just don't work.
Well,
Would
one
she
thing
be
you gotta
a
realize
coochie?
is
J-Lo?
J-Lo is not a hoochie.
J-Lo is way. I mean,
But
J-Lo is.
you know what? I'm sorry. That would
back.
be. I love J-Lo, and I will never speak wrong against her because she
love
is
J-Lo. I love her.
my motivation in life.
Oh, she's a
but
symbol.
if you are going to give the definition of a cluchie,
I'm just saying
she does
her transition in life.
If you look at her wardrobe, okay, the green outfit, the green Versace outfit,
That's true.
one piece, that's a cluchie outfit.
That is.
And, she definitely pushes the envelope, but she's
Yes.
always classic and always priceless. J-Lo, we love you. Your look
Yes,
is
we do.
phenomenal.
I like
You are
her
the
style.
fashion icon, but she shows a lot of skin at the same time because
Exactly.
she can, but everything is tucked in proportion in the exact right places that it should
and she
be.
don't look ratchet.
She doesn't ever look ratchet.
My thing is, if you're going to call J-Lo a cluchie, then you got to call Beyonce a cluchie.
Beyonce is a cluchie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah,
What?
man,
Okay.
she's more provocative than J-Lo is.
Oh my God! Did you see that Grammy performance?
Good God,
that
she
was
was-
stripper outfit. Now, come on.
Yeah, her and Jay-Z were having dry sex on stage. You didn't-
I loved it all.
It was
But
great.
Me too.
That's a
But,
cluchie.
Okay, all right.
But no, I'm
I
just
get it.
saying. I mean, I
But
think
she's married.
cluchie
It
generally
doesn't matter. It's about what you have on.
I don't know. I
Think
think,
it's with
I
her
think being
husband.
a hoochie is a part of a personality, a lifestyle. It's not because there could be one person who can wear the same outfit as another, and one looks
yeah.
ratchet and hoochie, and one looks classy. It just depends on the
But
person.
I'll
who's
give you
wearing
guys a great example. Okay, you talked about Jennifer Lopez. That was Grammys 2000. And then we had the following year when we had Toni Braxton's dress. It was really trying to extenuate, and it was
Way.
nasty. That was a hoochie outfit.
And then Lil Kim.
Yeah.
The following year,
my God.
the pasty.
Ooh, wow. Yeah. You can go
But that
on
was
and on.
classy though, the way she did it. But go ahead.
Yeah.
with the nipple.
Phoenix, what you're saying is that it's more mental. It's a state of mind.
It's the way you act in it and the way you carry yourself in it. 'Cause
Correct.
I've
Like
seen
if
it.
Kim or J-Lo wore the same outfit.
But there can be a hoe in a
know.
nun's outfit, and you're not going to say, "Oh, she's a hoe" or "she's a hoochie." It's about the way that you carry yourself as well. But your clothes are a dead ringer for what message you're trying to send.
I think it's initially, yes.
I think we're getting a little too specific on the definition of hoochie. I love the fact we're all analyzing it from different perspectives, and I think that's great. But I think at the end of the day, if someone is a hoochie or looks like a hoochie, you kind of know. I don't think there's no ambiguity
Yeah.
to it.
That's true.
It's like this person, okay, you're dressed provocative, you're showing cleavage, your booty, your thong, whatever is out. You could be classy, like you said, Kim Kardashian. She does dress very classy, and she has some of the best fashion designers in the world. But that doesn't take away from her still being objectified or hoochified.
by selling sex tapes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Exactly.
She still did a porno.
Exactly.
So while we're on the topic of mind showing your booty and spilling your soul, let's talk a little bit about mind, booty, and soul. Who else to talk about it with us but director
Booty.
Michael Norville. So I want to show a clip before we start talking with the audience about what this show or what your documentary entails. And we have the reel right here. So let's play that.
It's mind control. Mind control. Corruption of your thoughts, yeah. Destruction of your soul.
When you're 11 and you see, girls wearing half shirts and hot pants and belly rings and they kind of don't know what it means, it's like we don't talk about anything important anymore. It's just become about sex.
So much of what we end up being is what we end up seeing.
In other words, they're mirroring back the behavior that they've already seen on these screens.
Who do young people listen to? We have such a media technology-oriented generation.
That get people to be preoccupied with stimulation and titillation.
We as a society, we're really fascinated with celebrity and fame and getting pleasure.
Damn, the paparazzi is crazy. Lord.
The spectacle has absorbed you.
Women fixate on their bodies. It's constant, intense sort of pressure cooker about all of your physical attributes.
You are part of the image now.
Life is the bombardment of the senses. Smell, touch, taste, sight.
You are now in a hologram.
Is the media an influence on young people? Of course.
You are now not looking at the spectacle.
The mainstream culture of girls and what it's like to grow up as a girl and kind of how toxic the environment is.
You are the spectacle.
If somebody can get you to compromise your soul, to give up your soul, your pure essence, all is lost, damn near.
Wow.
Mind, Booty, and
was deep.
Soul.
I know, I watched that yesterday.
And so, Mind, Booty, and Soul, we have to know, because everything that you're talking about is what we were just talking about. I mean, what you just showed us right now, that's all very familiar to us. And we're constantly battling with these images on a day-to-day basis, male and female.
Yes.
Obviously, we just spoke about, Trey Songz 10 minutes ago. So let us know, what is this documentary exactly about, and what inspired you to create it, Michael?
Well, what inspired me is that, I was addicted to the booty. And at the same time, it was at a time where the black woman wasn't really seen as really her curves, her skin. She wasn't really in the conversation of the standards of beauty. So, it was also the time where we had the digital revolution with the cameras. So for me personally, I was tired of seeing Pamela Anderson. I was tired of them telling me Halle Berry is fine. It was just these people, they were just shoving down my throats.
Right.
And I was just like, oh God, come on, And then I had a camera and I said, I want to go out and film what I like, And so it was also the same time where I think as a collective force, black men were saying the same thing. This was about 1999 going into 2000. And so that whole craze just went crazy. You start seeing the music videos would back that thing up. It all started with the Thong Song in March, which was right after Jennifer Lopez.
I remember that too.
And she set it off because Jennifer Lopez fit the model of, she had the curves, she had the urban background, but she also had the characteristics of white symbolism of beauty. So she was the perfect prototype. And then the dress at the same time, it also identified the tabloid era as well. And we went into this kind of dumbed downness of our entertainment. So, right then, Jennifer Lopez creates a whole market where people can just get so addicted to the pictures and they can talk about it. And then she created this whole brand behind her music because she was trying to break into music at the time.
Correct.
And that's why she was with Puffy. And then she went on to have the first time where she had the number one album and the number one movie at the same time.
In history.
And, it set the standard. And then, you see that proliferated all the way down to Kim Kardashian and Paris Hilton, where they created their brands. Yeah. So by the time it got oversaturated with Kim Kardashian, then you see Lawrence Fishburne's daughter trying to, break her out her sex tape. It's kind of all washed off.
Well, my thing is, at least J-Lo had talent. Some of the ones you named after that is for anyone's judgment. But
but that's the point. Now we're replacing sex and the idea of the body and sexuality as a replacement for talent. We switch Wheeler 15 years later, and now that's all we're focusing on.
It's like the Vogue
when before it was just part of what you're showcasing.
Now it's all that you're showcasing.
Exactly, and that's why Jennifer Lopez, and we see her to today, great for J-Lo. We're seeing her with a new album. Did you guys see that new video, by the way?
I love you, Poppy. I love you, Poppy. I love you, Poppy. I know.
I guess I didn't see it.
Oh my God, you gotta see it.
I can't believe that she's in her 40s doing this.
So we play that music.
Well, she's dating an 18-year-old.
We play her song repetitively on Nautica De La Cruz show on 102.3 KJLH. That was just a little
shout out
to them. But that's a very popular song right now. I mean, every radio station is playing it. But what it shows too, like you brought up the point of, is that she actually has talent. People can knock her. She's not the best at every single thing that she does. But the girl does it all. Okay. And one thing in comparison to the Kims and the Paris Hiltons of the world that you were saying was they are making their celebrityism and being objectified based on their sexuality and not so much on their talent and what they bring to the table. And so I do see that as a plague. I mean, that is something that is continuously happening, and you see it on Instagram and social media all the time. Women feeling validified by how many Instagram followers they like and how many booty pictures they post up.
And what's so sad is it's like these little girls who are like 12, 13, 14 are looking at like Bad Girls Club, aspiring to be like these crazy girls so they can be Paris Hilton and they can be Kim Kardashian, fighting and doing all this stuff so they can do these audition tapes to be on TV.
Well, I mean, I think Tavis, in that video, Tavis Smiley said it best. They're being what they're seeing.
Yes,
and,
exactly.
The unfortunate thing is that because we live in an over-sexified culture where pretty much everything, it's like talent second, sex first.
Yes. And fame. How can I get famous?
Sex and fame first, and then talent is maybe 5th or 6th on the list. Whereas 30, 40 years ago, you had to have something to come through the door with. So I'm not saying that I am in disagreement of the booty or I guess highlighting or profiling the sexuality of women, but I do believe that also what kind of image is that sending out, and what are we saying about our society if that's the only thing that we use to validate a woman?
the sexual aspect.
Is that really the only thing?
Well, I mean, that's the main thing now.
The main thing, yeah.
You know, I mean, look at guys. You know, the average guy, he's not really thinking about your intelligence. You know, I mean,
and you don't have to these days. With
you know,
all the
I
social
want a
media.
three-dimensional woman. I want a woman that's intelligent. I want a woman that's, you know, a go-getter.
Preach.
You know, I want a woman that's pretty, that's attractive.
Yes.
I want her to work out. You know, I
Yep.
want a complete woman. But most guys don't want a complete woman. They want to have this
Trophy girl.
Compartmentalized.
Oh,
yeah, thank you. They want to put a woman in a category, and they want to go from one woman to the next woman to the next woman,
next.
and they start treating women like they treat a new car. You know, I'm tired of this car. You know, it's about 3 years old. I need a new model.
Because
And that's
all
the
her
unfortunate-
value is her physical beauty, just
Right.
as when your car gets banged up
Then you
or
also
it
don't
starts
care
to
anymore.
age, you don't want it anymore. You get the new car, the next model coming out.
So
Same
my-
thing with cell phones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right?
Exactly.
Shoot,
All
the
the,
i6
all
is
the
out.
gadgets are still the same. They were perfectly fine for you a year ago. The moment a new model or a better model comes out, you are off to the next
We're in
iPhone.
the generation of now. Like, we don't want to
Yeah.
wait. We don't want to work. We just want it now. If it's broke, we just throw it out, get a new one.
So my question to, I guess, the ladies up here are, when you do see men that maybe come on your Instagram pages and things of that sort, and, you know, like your or not just on Instagram, but when you're out, they see you, like what you see, like what they see. And you know that obviously that's what inspires them to talk to you and whatnot. Do you feel that you are constantly objectified by men? And also, my next thing is that if you do feel that a guy is trying to
Compartmentalize.
I started it.
See, now you got me all screwed up. Nah, good Lord. Do we blame the guy for that, or do we blame the woman that's allowing the guy to do that to them?
I think at the same time, you have to be careful of what you put out as a woman. You have to start making people respect you, because I think they have gotten to that point to a certain degree. And you have to make them see that you're smart. You have to make them see that you have something else going on. So then those type of people don't typically come at you as much in that way. So like I found once I started branding myself in a certain way, people don't approach me certain type of ways anymore.
And
I like that response. Yeah,
no, that I definitely agree with Phoenix. And I think too, one thing that's happened throughout the time change and just us going from a conservative society to where you couldn't curse on television, you couldn't, you know, give any profanity or show any sexual body or
And now
innuendo.
you can do whatever.
And now it's balls to the wall. So when you step out as a woman, before, if you came out looking like a hoochie, you were shunned. Now when you step out, it's glorified.
Right.
And so in reaction, because it's now accepted, women have embraced it and men have as well. And then they in turn are able to be disrespectful and say that you asked for it. So it's a completely different response as it would have been back in the day. Women would have looked at you crazy and men would have looked at you crazy. Now it's embraced.
It's embraced.
And so, you know, it's a fine line. Like Phoenix was saying, you have to put out the image that you want people to receive, because it's instant. Unfortunately, we are a visual society, and because sex is what sells, if that's what you are selling, then that's what you're going to you're going to be approached for, to be bought. But if you don't spread your legs and you're dressed conservatively, or at least, you know, classy, then
Clutchy.
and you give someone an opportunity to get to know you and see that you're intelligent and that what's coming out of your mouth is more than just talking about shopping and Instagram. Yeah. Then you actually have something to offer. Like you almost have to sell your substance now.
You definitely get what you give.
You get what you give.
You know, you get what you give. But at the same time, there's people in other countries where sex that's normal. You know what I'm saying? The things that you see on TV with sex and all this stuff is normal. And I think also people have put such a bad connotation on sex.
Right.
Like it's actually such a beautiful thing that has turned into something that's so negative.
I mean, we get that about the show Let's Talk About Sex, because people are like, "Ooh, sex."
Yeah,
I don't really
sounds
know.
like
it
makes
sounds
it
like
so
it
negative. It's
Exactly. Because I have a friend, he's a European, and he, you know, as Americans, we're very tense over here about sex, and so we can't talk about it, and it's not like that over there.
It's not.
They have naked beaches over there. Where you just
I told my dad we
normal.
changed the name of the show. He's like, "Why is it Let's Talk About Sex?" You know, what y'all talking about? It's not even like that.
It's like forbidden, you know, and
it is a forbidden fruit.
And it creates this tension where people want to rebel against that, and they want to go against that because you're not supposed to do it.
Well, I think part of the problem is not necessarily sex. I think we all agree, it's unanimous that sex is outstanding. Now, promiscuity, as spicy as you see, is ready for sex right now. But
drought.
well, we can fix that. So with that being said, I think that sex is wonderful. Like Phoenix was saying, it's something that's great. It's beautiful. It should be cherished, celebrated. But I also believe that there's a fine line between sex and being content with their sexuality versus just being raunchy or using sex or something in order to gain a validation or appreciation and things of that sort, which I feel that sometimes in our society you see people that do over-sexualize themselves in order to gain something.
Well, because they see other people over-sexualizing themselves, and then they're getting places, so you feel like you got to pull your shirt down.
I think we're missing the meaning of real sex. See,
break it down.
We need to really talk about intimacy between a man and a woman.
Right.
Because when you get that real intimacy, there's some other stuff going on besides the body getting stimulated.
Exactly.
There's the mind stimulating the body. There's that kind of like chemistry. You're finishing each other's things. Yeah. And you start feeling tinglings in the brain and all that kind of stuff. But when we start to focus just on the body itself, we kind of lose that. So you were mentioning earlier how we want to just have these cell phones, we want to have that instant gratification. We really need to be expressing that with one another, with men and women, or man and man, whatever you want to call it. But we need to be expressing that with people and having that type of chemistry where we have, like, lately I've been thinking about people and then they just hit me up on a text or they call me, and I want to try to, like, okay, let me think about money, and it hits me up on my phone, and that's the type of thing that we really need to start, utilizing with our brains and our intuitiveness, but we're all focused on the body and it just kind of gets distorted.
Well, do you
give
me your perspective on this? Because my theory is that the shift occurred when we started having, and it became acceptable to have sex out of wedlock. Before, sex was celebrated as a gift that was for husband and wife. Yeah. It was something it was repulsive to even think about having sex and sleeping around with someone who you are not married to. And now that we can have as many partners as we want, and that is socially acceptable. Yeah. With men and women. There was a time when there was probably, I can almost bet, 80% less mistresses in the world, because it was negative and looked upon you. You were
condemned.
Yeah, you were condemned for sleeping with somebody's spouse, for sleeping, with someone outside of marriage. And now, as a society, we do it all the time. And, marriage is like the last thing on people's mind now. So how do you think that plays into this whole, sexual objectification?
Well, I mean, you're talking about like family values.
Yeah.
And we're talking about a different era. We're talking about, let's say the height of family values was the 50s.
Right.
So in the 50s, we as a country, we were producers. We were producing items. We were creating stuff. So now let's look at where we are now. We're consumers. So the fact that sex is so free and we see each other as body parts, these are all things that makes us really unhappy with one another. So what are we going to do? We're going to go find these little products that gives us this instant gratification so we can kind of buy, purchase. So it meets right in with, as far as the corporations, they're feeding this type of mentality so we can continue to consume. I mean, if you think about it, America's just 300 million people. We're still the number one consumers, and we're competing with India, we're competing with China.
Billions of people in India.
And we're still the number one consumers. We're keeping China going. So there's something into that whole thing about how our family values have evaporated, our connection with one another are evaporated, our meanings with one another is so, dwindled down that we are replacing that with these products, and in my case, we're replacing that with these screens. We're getting more like connected with this screen than we are with one another.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think the connection with people is the biggest thing for me, more so than like the sex and all that stuff. I think it's having genuine connection with people, talking to people instead of texting. You know what I'm saying?
Going to a dinner and everybody's not on their cell phones.
I think it's just genuine connection, even with spouses. Like, I've known people who live in the same house and they just operate on autopilot. Like, they're not really in a relationship. They're just on
their
the same space.
Yeah.
It's probably because they're not having great sex.
I mean, they might be having great sex, but still,
there's still a zombie-like quality.
Exactly,
to people these days.
on autopilot.
Same space.
So then my question, that's a good point, Phoenix. So then my question to that is, how do we, adapt in this ever-evolving world of technologies and all these other innovative things, and still keep the core communication and things of that stuff prevalent.
I think you need the technology. That's not. It's not something that can be eradicated. We need the technology. We're in a society that needs instant gratification or instant communication. If you don't text right away, if you don't email right away, you may have possibly missed out on an opportunity because you no longer have an excuse to not be in communication.
No, you don't.
But I think as far as intimacy is concerned, whether it be friends or a lover, you need to put it away. There needs to be time set aside that you just focus and connect with each other, whether it's dinner time, whether it's going to the movies, whether it's, just going to the park. Like there needs to be some time where you're just like, okay, I'm going to leave my phone back at home.
You have to stay committed to that.
Yeah, and you have to commit to that. I've been out on dates before and I'm just like, I'm going to leave my phone in my purse. But then I see them on their phone and I'm just like, really? Can you please just try for like 5 minutes to give me your undivided attention?
And people can't.
I exist.
Exactly.
And
he's probably looking at your Instagram while he's looking at you.
I agree and not, because then there's, people have parents. So like for me, I have a little boy. So when I'm going somewhere, my phone is in my hand. Just because I want to know what's going on with him. Right. But at the same time, I don't allow my phone to control me. I control the phone. So yeah, if I glance at, if my phone keeps ringing and it keeps buzzing, I'll be like, you know what? Give me 1 second. Let me check and see. Like my son, when we went out yesterday, kept calling me. And I'm just like, what do you want?
Now I love you to death, but what you are just admitting to is having fed into this need for instant communication, because there was a whole generation, our parents, that were raised perfectly fine without having instant access to their children step by step
with it.
24 hours a day. And our parents came out just fine and raised us. And they didn't have that.
I came out with a few problems.
But I'm a single parent, so when someone is babysitting my kid and I need to know what's going on, if my phone rings with the same number over and over and over, it's some type of emergency or something, or I'm going to think that is something. I'll ignore it once, twice. But then if it keeps going, I'm like, okay,
and that's
why do you
part
keep
of the
calling
transition
me?
of this generation, because you are a single parent and like in your brain, like something could happen to you. It's like, this is your kid now. Right.
Yeah,
like
so my phone is next to me for that purpose all the time. Sometimes I do get caught up and I'm like, I check my phone like the daily paper. And then I have to check myself. I have to separate. There are some days where I just don't even talk to people. I don't answer my email. I don't answer my phone. So it has to become a habit of not allowing your phone to control, or your technology, because not just my phone, to control you, because I get consumed by technology.
Yes.
Like,
it's easy to.
I think 3 hours. Feed into it, because there was a time when we did not have this instant access, and we survived just fine. Now, I'm a victim of this, and I will not, I repeat, not leave my phone at home. Okay. So that was not a suggestion for you to try.
No,
I was just using it as an example of, there was a time that it was okay and possible to go somewhere and not have a cell phone on you.
Just think about it too. The families were different then, though. Like people took, the communities came together back then, and kids were able to walk down the street by themselves, and the neighbor would call and they can go to the neighbor's house. I don't think it's as safe as it was back then. Like I would never even let my kid walk to school. Whereas in Texas, they could walk for a good 2 miles and it's normal, and they're 6, 7. So I think the families and like the communities that come together are very different in this day and age than it used to be. So it's a different safety level.
Michael, so you making this documentary, what was your goal with this? What were you trying to teach us or change by providing this information to us?
Well, that's a heavy load question, because my goal changed. As I said, I just wanted to showcase the Black woman's body, and I want to say how beautiful. So it was really a celebrating that time period. And then, you start to see, one of the things why I created that barrage of images, what I'm trying to say is that we're bombarded, with these images everywhere you turn. A lot of those images are just like, billboards in the public, and this is what our kids are driving down the street. So as I start to see this come over and over again, then I kind of changed my whole value system. Like, well, wait, it's not about really showcasing the beauty of a Black woman's body. It's like, whoa, what's going on here? The original question is like, how much free will do we have, versus to now, like, I'm being controlled by these images. And so I wanted to explore that. And then things just kept moving along. The Janet Jackson thing was just like crazy to me. Not to say a titty is crazy, but the fact that, we have that on the Super Bowl, we love and then, we have this denial. And so you have all these kind of things that are going on that kind of relates to racism, to sexism. And then you see this kind of like dialogue going on between men, and this dialogue going on between women. So, for example, you had the whole Scrubs thing, and they were saying, men, you got to step up to the plate. You guys are like, mooching off of us. You got the bills, and etc. And then, what do the men do? They come back with the bling culture, So they basically say, you know what, we're gonna look like pimps, and we're gonna look like the type of man that you want to actually get with.
Wow.
And so you had this illusion, like, okay, I'm gonna project that I'm the man that you want to be with, and then vice versa. Then you had women start to showcase their bodies more. So we start to project this kind of pimp hoe image because women were like saying, look, if I see a man and he doesn't fit into that guideline of what a real man is, I'm going to treat him like a trick, because you got this whole kind of gold digging kind of consumerism going on. So, all this was playing on within the music, within the videos, and so much is happening so fast, we can't even keep track of it. So what I wanted to do, I wanted to slow it down. I wanted to say, let's take a look at this topic. And so I would go out and just talk to people and ask them what they thought. So I kind of like capture that time moment, and then I could use that as a conversation, and that conversation keeps coming back with the whole Nicki Minaj, I'm not gonna even say it, but the whole N-word type of thing where she's shooting up the guy because he's looking so much. So that whole thing is about, he's a trick, he's a less than man, he's less than I am. I'm gonna use my body to not only control him, but maybe to kill him. So it becomes this kind of predator. And I will say it became like this super bitch. You start seeing the baddest bitch, and all these things start incorporating into our psyche, and that became like the way that women were like saying, that's the way I'm going to level the playing field, that's the way I'm going to get equality,
retaliate.
And so if you go back in history and you start looking at the black exploitation era, it was the same thing going on, but black women or that era was using their bodies against the man, the white man. So now you see that same energy going on between black men and women. So all these things are going on, and I just labeled a huge conversation, and we need to talk about all these things because they're affecting us, and we don't really take time to really understand all these dimensions that are going on.
There's so much stuff coming at us every day, and we don't even realize these subliminal messages.
Cigarette campaigns, like there is a war on us. You know how hard cigarette campaigns used to go? It's the same thing now with this, this exploitation of sexuality. It's the exact same thing.
And you don't even think about it, the billboards and the songs and the Instagrams and the TV shows and all these things coming at you all day, but it is affecting you. You know how you look at yourself in the mirror.
My question to that then is, why is that something that we continue to perpetuate? And why is that something that we continue to feed into?
I don't even think you always know you're being affected.
It's a drug now.
I don't even think you know at half the time.
I mean, right now, I'm working on my poster logo, and I'm basically, taking a crack pipe, and inside the crack pipe is a curvaceous woman. That's our drug now. So we're so caught up and sprung on this particular drug, we don't know how to unwind or get out of it. And until we talk about it, until we deal with, that this drug is, and it's not only a drug between men and women and the people on the street, it's a drug that the corporations are pushing. We only have 6 major corporations. If you look at some of the billboards out there, they're owned by Clear Channel. They're owned by CBS. CBS is the same people that put on the Super Bowl when Janet Jackson did the MTV thing, and that projected that. That was on CBS. MTV produced the show. So you only got like 6 people who are controlling all these images, and they're not a coincidence. That's why everywhere you drive down the street or you listen to the radio, it's like, I got to put my hand.
It's all calculated.
Yes. And that's what I'm trying to say, instead of us saying, okay, the woman's the problem, or the woman's the enemy, or the man's the enemy, and this type of thing, we need to look at the fact of source, where these images are coming from.
Right.
And the enemy is really, the class of the corporations. And then you also have to think about the proliferation of television, how the channels expanded. And that's why we see this kind of low common denominator of our entertainment, because they have to fill those channels. And they have to fill those channels with cheap programming. And how are you going to fill it with cheap programming when you got the Screen Actors Guild and the Writers Guild charging all this money?
Right,
and the strike was really important back, was it 07? That really crippled the industry to a certain extent, because now after the strike, the people were in the television thing, they're like, okay, we got to take more control, because our money is dwindling, our control of creativity is dwindling, and so you start to see really tightening up of the the control of the real entertainment, the type of thing that we're looking at, the Scandal now, which I find interesting. I watch it, but there are some things that are going on that we can all talk about with the cheating on the president, but then you got her being really intellectual and playing the chess game and being a little bit
and
of
the
step
wife
ahead.
knows.
Right.
Yeah, and how the wife is like looking for the big picture. There's so many that's why we love it.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
We're addicted.
do. I am addicted.
I watched last night's
Me
episode.
too.
So did I.
But there was sex driving the entire show. I mean, every single, now everybody's having sex with each other on the
Yes.
show.
Yeah.
And it's almost, turns into a little telenovela. And we're okay with that. Like, we completely embrace it. You hear Phoenix over here saying, oh, I love, Kerry Washington. I love,
And she got a lot of backlash for that role.
But, she did.
Maybe initially.
But then at the same time, we praise her because it's a
Right.
black woman starring in a major
Exactly.
hit television show. So it's like, gosh, we want to support, we are in love with the show, but at the same time, the images and the ideas that it's selling are not helping our society.
But is it not depicting something that could quite possibly have happened?
Or it probably
It
is
has
happening.
happened.
You know what I'm saying?
It is happening.
I think that they're stretching. They're showing things that people, haven't been able to have access to. They're showing another side of it, and it takes a lot of balls, I think, to do that.
Well, a lot of times television is a reflection of society and things
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
occur
sure.
in there. So yeah, I mean, well, we know there's
The
presidents.
truth sells. Sex sells. The
No,
truth
that's why
sells.
people are so
Yeah.
addicted to that show, because there's so many events going on. People are like, oh, I know somebody that had that, or I'm in this situation, or whatever.
Michael, I want to talk a little bit with you about Mind, Booty, and Soul and how this has maybe influenced the huge wave of plastic surgery that's going on, and our self-esteem for our bodies and our appraisal for our bodies and our worship or obsession with this ideal image of a woman that we have. How do you feel like that's been affected by this whole imaging?
Well, once again, we go to, women are trying to get a good man. They're trying to get a successful man. They want somebody that, that not only can take care of them, but, is basically their equal. And we all know that there's a lot more men out there than women as far as singles. So it's a way that women are becoming more competitive. It's like, okay, if this is the ideal visual image of what a good woman is going to be, as a woman, I'm going to fit that image, and then I'll be somewhat not necessarily respected, but I'll be noticed by these type of men, and maybe I have a chance. And so now you take a look at you remember that whole time with reality television where we had all those reality television with the plastic surgery, Swan, and there was like so many of them.
Dr. 90210.
Beauty and the Beat or something.
Oh my! It was like it was shown so much that plastic surgery became common ground for anybody to just say, wow, you know what? I need to get a plastic surgery. 18-year-olds to get a plastic surgery, which was unheard of prior to 2000. And then also the black men's magazines. They really were a part of it in my mind, because one of my clients was Black Male Magazine, Smooth and Show and all that type of thing. Yeah, but
I had a few of those in college.
as black women started to become more incorporated into that world, then it became that competitiveness of how I'm going to look different as far as taking the photos and the magazines. And there was the twofold with men started looking as women, and they start getting into black market injections, and then you start to see.
Wait, you said what? Men were. Repeat that last part. I'm sorry.
Men were changing their bodies, and they wanted to become more like looking like women, and so that need of wanting to transform their body into a woman's body.
The transvestite.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking. Okay, no, I didn't know if this was a phase that I was like, how did I miss this whole phase?
There was a transition that it was becoming acceptable for men to get surgery done to look like a woman.
Yes.
I lived in Atlanta. I saw a lot of that. But go ahead.
In my mind, they created this black market and this black undercurrent market where you can just get these injections. So I would go like on a set of one of the magazines, and I go, wow, such and such a model, she's beautiful, she looks great. And all of a sudden, I'm talking to the producer, and he says, she got an injection. I'm like, I'm scratching my head and I'm going, wow, why would she even think about getting an injection? So the fact that the black market was so readily available for women to get, and the fact that they were trying to be competitive, I've got on my website, you can see right now on Mind, Booty, and Soul on YouTube, you can see Soleil. And Soleil was one of the models, and Soleil, she had like 40-inch hips. Soleil had she still has a beautiful
Soleil,
shape.
Genuine's wife, correct?
No, she was she had, what was her So Hot Soleil, she had one of those websites that were making money. Remember the day when people used to pay $20 for the membership to go to these websites and see these women, Twitter and Facebook and all that stuff. They took over that. They just dwindled that particular aspect of the way women can kind of market their bodies. But Soleil, she was saying that when she started to become, into that world, that it became more of a standard, like your booty's not big enough. And if you look at it, her booty was great, but in order for her to be the competitive in that world, she was saying that no, she didn't want to, but she's saying that was the pressure to actually get those injections. So, the fact that it became, we saw it on the reality TV, the fact that it became much more cheaper, and the fact we had this black market is a reason why we're seeing plastic surgery so acceptable as just like, oh, let me just go get, my hair done and let me go get these injections or whatever it is now.
Now, what about the black body becoming the prototype for beauty nowadays? Because what I noticed was there was one point that it was socially acceptable for everybody to get breast, and now it's come to a point where every ethnicity, although genetically not how do I say it? A lot of ethnicities
like that.
They were not. A lot of ethnicities.
They don't have
I was trying
bodies
to
like
find
that.
the politically correct way to say it, but a lot of ethnicities don't come with those natural curves. I'm sorry. I have never seen Asians and white people, Middle Eastern, with as big of butts as they have now, and I feel like it is to look like the African American prototype, the female body, where they're getting you can get hip injections now. You can get butt injections.
Oh, hips?
Yeah, you can get your hips done in order to match, your butt. I mean, even Nicki Minaj got the hips done. But you see it more and more, especially after Kim Kardashian, got her butt done to look like a Puerto Rican. Like if you look at her, she always says that, Jennifer Lopez is her hero. Well, Jennifer Lopez's butt is natural. She's Puerto Rican, but that's Afro-Latino. And so she did that in order to look more like another culture, another ethnicity, to attract black men. That's all that she dates.
Why do people always think that the only way to attract a black man is with a big booty?
Because white men don't say,
even though
baby,
85% of the time it's true.
White men are not. Asian men are not saying, babe, your butt's not big enough.
No, they don't say that.
White men are not saying, babe, your butt's not big enough. That's not even something that historically they're attracted to. And so if a woman is not naturally built like that, when you start to see like all these women get that body type, it's not your natural ethnic body type. It's not your build. It's just like hair is. If you're getting blonde hair and you're a black woman, okay, come on now, we know that that's European. Like majority of the time, you're not born with that. And so if you're doing it to look like something else that's outside of your ethnicity or your culture, it's because you're trying to attract what that body type or that prototype comes from.
I agree and disagree. I agree to a certain extent where if yes, you are an Asian woman or a white woman, and obviously you were not born curvaceously and you were doing that to attract, black men or urban men for some sort. But also, what if you just like the beauty of it? Like I know some girls that just like blonde hair or blonde highlights or things of that sort. Not that they're necessarily trying to attract a European man or,
I've gotten blonde highlights before.
Actually, when I was in high school, I dyed my hair blonde.
No, you did not.
I'm not lying. That was because of Cisco, and I thought every girl liked the platinum blonde look. Well, at least I thought I did.
But we're perpetuating.
But anyways, what I'm saying is that I do believe you could still do something just out of a fashion or beauty statement and not necessarily.
But I think the majority of people, what she's saying, do come from that place of trying to like go outside of themselves. I don't feel like people going for plastic surgery overall is like just because stuff on the inside. I don't agree with that.
Of course not.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's so much to that conversation. Okay, let's talk about the fact that, when I started the film, and unfortunately it's been a long time, around 2000. So at the time, I'm interviewing white girls who have that type of shape naturally, and they were considered fat. They were saying, and I'll go back and get one of my things in the archives, and they're like, God, I'm uncomfortable. And they like black men, but they like all kind of men. So it was that era where, we were really talking about what was considered fat because we had this really skinny prototype. And then later on, when you start seeing Kim Kardashian, it wasn't only that she was, attracting or wanting to be around black men, she was actually building her brand. It was the whole thing about the whole tabloids. She had a black woman's body, and she just,
that she had built though. She had her butt done.
Exactly. But
was she naturally curvy though?
I mean, she probably
had,
was.
No, she did have curves, but she had her butt done.
Butt like that.
She had her butt done.
But the tabloids are making such this big hysteria about her body and her booty. And then, she wasn't really doing anything. And then she got the reality show. And then she just kept being relevant because of her body. And then after the body, started being relevant, then her brand started to be more relevant. So again, it was a way for her to take that 15 seconds of fame and she extended it into
years.
Yes, exactly. And so, and that's
did she extend it or did we extend it?
Well, it's a combination. She couldn't extend it without us consuming it.
Right.
Exactly.
Or without, the tabloids promoting it and we picking up the magazines. The thing is that to me, is that as long as we keep talking about Kim Kardashian, she becomes powerful.
Exactly.
The day that we don't use her name in our sentences and, whether it's good or bad, then she starts to lose her relevancy.
Well, she's on the cover of Vogue, so she's doing something right.
That's Kanye.
Anna Wintour was not happy about that.
Right. That's a whole nother subject. But
to piggyback off of what you were saying, when Kim Kardashian did that and she got really popular off of that, I also saw that black women, if they were to have done the same thing during that time, that wasn't acceptable. So it looked great and it was marketable on a woman who was not African American.
Correct.
It was not marketable on a person who was my skin color because I wasn't getting no jobs during that time. And I was just like, dang.
So you're saying a black woman were to do what?
It's the appropriation of the black female's body.
She got the black female's body, but she's not black. That's why it was so
just
great.
Like J-Lo was acceptable for the white people.
But that on a
had
black
the curve.
woman, that wasn't great.
Because it wouldn't be a commodity on a black woman.
But it wasn't as great. It wasn't as big of a deal. And me, I didn't get jobs when I was younger trying to model, trying to do all this stuff because my butt was too big.
Right.
She got all this stuff because her butt
and
was
now
big.
it's cool, but you're just like
no,
a black girl.
it's cool on a woman who's not black.
That's what I'm saying. But for
you
you,
know what I'm saying?
they expect you to have
if you're black, that is not okay.
Unfortunately, we're dealing with racism here, because if you look at it from a corporation standpoint,
exactly.
Okay, if they're going to try to market a particular trend to a wide range of people, you're not going to really use a black one. Unfortunately, like I would buy it, but you're not going to use a black, unless she has like somewhat of an exotic look, and there's some exceptions.
More of a white girl body.
Yeah, true, but
so
a
little curve,
and that's
a little curve though.
Victoria's Secret.
You guys
Victoria's
are killing
Secret
me.
model's got a little curve.
Yeah. So we're appropriating her body and we're appropriating part of her culture and we're applying it to a different group, a different set of women. And now that becomes something that people are seeing. Let's take a look at JCPenney. They got the JCPenney bye-bye, where JCPenney's going out of business. So the first frame is like a white woman and she turns around and she's looking at her butt and she's seeing if it looks good. Then the next frame is she's Latino, but she looks white and you really can't tell because it's a medium shot, but she's walking down, she's walking towards us in like kind of like, a fashion show pose, and then she's got this really tight-fitted dress. And now if we go and look in what we see now, tight-fitted, curvaceous dress that are fitted perfectly to the body are like huge. I start seeing that maybe about a year and a half ago. And so they're marketing to that like, hey, look, not only can you get the injections to have this body, but you got to dress this body and you got to showcase this body in this certain type of way. And if you think about it, when Nelly tried to do that, like when back in his old apple bottom, 10 years ago, it wasn't really working. Why it wasn't working?
Urban.
Because exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's the prime example, and that's why it's appropriated. That's why Miley Cyrus is able to take twerking and able to get $70 million of free advertisement. When a black woman was to do it, people would be like, "Oh God, that hoe." Sorry to say that.
Black's been twerking.
But it's cute because Miley's doing it. Oh, look at the white girl.
Now, mind you, disclaimer: let's talk about sex is not anti-plastic surgery.
Yeah.
Just as a disclaimer, because I am for it. Do not think that I'm against it. I am against the butt injection, but I am pro plastic surgery if it is indeed a need for something. But I am anti-butt. I'm sorry. I'm anti-butt injection. Anti-butt implant. Anything you're doing to touch your butt, I am anti. But
what about the real ones where they take the fat from?
No. Those aren't real. And the problem that I have with
it's still a surgery.
At the end of the day, your child is going to be born not looking like you or grow up to have your build. And that is going to create self-esteem issues with them then as well. Although you have to battle your own personal esteem issues when you get that done. Now, mind you, when I have children, I will get my breasts done.
Guys, with the China man, that China man who sued his wife because his baby came out ugly. And he sued her and he won because she had all this plastic surgery and the baby didn't come out looking like that. You guys didn't hear about that?
But that is
that's a crazy story.
He
sued her.
Good God. You're living a lie. die. But at the end of the day, you know, that's a whole plastic surgery.
that.
We'll have a whole nother episode. Let's talk about sex to deal with plastic surgery. So you guys stay tuned for that. We are here every Friday at 4:30. So we will definitely be digging into plastic surgery on one episode.
So anti that, which I cannot wait to go ham on when we have that episode.
We're gonna have that episode. And so before we end the show, we're gonna do, Michael. We're gonna put him in the hot seat. We're gonna put him in the naked truth seat. Okay. And so, Michael, this is something that we do to all of our guests.
I'm not prepared here, but let me go.
You're gonna get dirty right now. So.
Oh my God.
All right. Are you, and this is personal, okay? Because you talked about all these, sexual images and everything. We want to know a little bit about your sex life. Are you an affectionate man, and how do you feel about public displays of affection?
I love public displays of affection. I just have to find the right person to have that public display of affection. I know for me, working on this film, it is actually kind of, it has affected me as a way of the images. Because, I remember there were times I was watching BET, and I wouldn't watch BET if I was just, myself. But so to get back to it is that, it has affected some of my potential ways to have intimacy because of the things that I'm actually consuming by researching it. So, for me, I'm trying to just get back to, remembering that there is a connection beyond the body. And unfortunately, sometimes when I meet a woman, then we have that kind of like chemistry going on. It's a bad timing. So, for me, it's all about trying to find that chemistry with the person. And that's a rare thing.
That is.
Amen. So I love public. I love that. But, do we see it authentically? No.
I'm gonna have to sign you up for my professional matchmaking site that I'm creating this summer. I'm gonna put you in there. You're a good catch.
But I do have a girlfriend, so I can't really say that.
The truth comes out. Now you are bearing the naked truth over here.
I kind of say I got to be truthful here.
There you go. I appreciate
Your girlfriend's
that.
probably
yeah.
Right? She's watching. How long you guys been together?
We're coming up on 2 years.
2 years. Wonderful.
Congratulations on the love.
Good.
Like you said,
good.
it's very rare to find.
Do you guys role play?
Sometimes.
Hey, this is the naked truth. He can ask you whatever he wants.
I think you have to role play, right?
You got to keep the sex alive.
I agree.
What is it that Chris Rock says? You got to recycle the pussy. Instead of cheating, you got to create different ways. You got to create a variety.
Now, is she a coochie?
Yes.
All right. The coochie is celebrated.
Yes.
Of course.
She dresses very sexy, and she always comes to me. Can I wear this? Is this okay to wear? I said yes. Because I'm like, I don't have any issues with going out with my woman if she's wearing something sexy. I don't have any issues if she goes out by herself with her girlfriends wearing something sexy. Because if there's not trust there, then it doesn't matter.
Right.
She's going to do something behind my back anyway.
Yeah.
So I can't really get caught up into that type of insecurity. I like for her to dress sexy because it stimulates my eyes. So why not?
Now, are you a butt, breast, or leg man? And I'm not talking El Pollo Loco.
Oh, definitely booty. Definitely booty. But
he didn't even wait till you finish the question. But right after.
Yeah.
Booty.
Name my show.
My booty and soul.
My booty and soul.
Actually, since breast surgery has become so popular, smaller breasts are actually more, to me, a delight because they have a little bit more sensitivity, and the idea, that my touch can actually stimulate them more, exotically. It's a fantasy in my head. I know it's not real, but that's kind of like what I go for.
And it also makes you look more small up top too. Thicker women suffer from looking big when you wear baggy clothes, like Phoenix was saying. So when you are smaller up top, it's kind of, I'm always like envious, like, oh, dang, if I was smaller up top, I would be able to fit, clothes more smooth. It looks sexy to me. I like when women are smaller up top and big on bottom. So I agree with you.
That would be, is that the pear shape or is...
That's more like the pear. Yeah, it's more like the pear. I think that's cute.
That's true, because if they're big on top and big on bottom, that's just too much. That's hey. Yeah.
But that's the standard now, everybody wants that. And it's not even 36, 24, 36. It's like, 38.
So Mix-a-Lot said that, right?
Yeah, well, Commodore, that's been going on for a long time.
All right, are you a cuddler, sleeper, or eater after sex?
Cuddler.
Your color, oh, I always like when men are the cuddlers. I always think that's so sweet. Okay,
well, that's because he's in a relationship. Now, if he wasn't in a relationship, I'm sure it'd be one of the other two.
I know if we had more time, I would be digging more into his past as far as.
Oh wow, my past.
Yeah, we would be doing a little bit more digging.
Oh, Spicy will go in.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I should have looked at the show and did my research.
All right, with your wife, your girlfriend's ears tuned out and her not hearing this, which celebrity crush would you crush if you could smash anybody
Gabrielle
in the industry?
Union.
Yes,
yeah,
I love Gabrielle. I
love her.
I applaud you for that. She is
knows
a
that.
beautiful black woman. She is striking. Her skin is flawless. She looks amazing for her age.
What is it about Gabrielle? That
Oh my! Have you been next to her?
I mean, I've seen her a few times.
Oh my God, I interviewed her around 2002, and she's just radiant. You know, she's got that smile, and she just reels you in, and then that skin is just glowing.
But
and
for you to be a booty man, she doesn't really have booty.
She's got curves. She's got
curvy.
You know?
Gabrielle can do no wrong to me.
She is shaped.
I mean, I'm not hating on your selection, but by all means.
I mean,
you know what she doesn't have? She doesn't have the voluptuous prototype body.
Yeah.
But she isn't a skinny girl. She's not a toothpick. So she does have. She has some meat
she's
on
working
her.
with a little something.
Well, you're gonna have to go through Dwayne Wade to make that happen.
Well,
Good luck.
Once again, part of the film is the transition is that once you start being around that in real life, that whole fantasy image of wanting to get the hot chick on TV, it kind of evaporates, and you start to see that most of these women aren't really, they're not worth their 2 cents. So the girl next door is actually like, wow, actually that's what's kind of missing to me, the girl next door mentality. We've taken this kind of sexuality and everybody wants to kind of project it and exploit it and do all these things with it, that the common girl next door who's just pretty, you don't see that too much nowadays.
You don't. I think that's what Kelly Rowland was for a minute, and until she started trying to keep up with Beyonce. But I do agree.
Dang. Well, this has been a great conversation. There's so many ideas have stemmed from this of issues that we need to talk about and just topics for Let's Talk About Sex. Michael, Norville, we appreciate you coming in here and talking to us about Mind, Booty, and Soul. Where can fans find you if they want to see this documentary and they want to contact you on social media? How do they get a hold of you?
Well, you can go to mindbootyandsoul.tv. You can go to Facebook /mindbootyandsoul. You can go to Instagram mindbootyandsoul. The word mindbooty and YouTube /user mindbootyandsoul. So everything is Mind, Booty, and Soul, and everything's connects. Because sometimes you have all these things all over the place and people are trying to find how to go. I got the trailer. You can see it right away. I can pick you over to YouTube. So we're ending. Just check out Mind, Booty, and Soul.
And last question, Mind, Booty, and Soul. If you had to choose one out of 3, which one would you choose?
1 out of 3.
Mind, Booty, or Soul? Which one? Hurry up. Okay, good go. All right.
He's a soul man.
In Phoenix, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram /PhoenixWhite, Facebook Phoenix White, Twitter Phoenix on Twit.
And you guys can play with my Twitter and stroke my Instagram at spicy_Madi or go to thespicylife.com.
No, she did say that.
Yes,
Kevin,
she did. Every week.
She did.
Where can they find you?
Well, they can ride my Facebook.
God, I don't have anything.
Kevin John Peters. Or you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at HeyKevinJohn.
I like that.
And you can G-rated find me at DreaRenee_N on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
There you guys have it. Let's talk about sex. And we were doing it all day long, talking about sex, y'all. Tune in every Friday at 4:30 for Let's Talk About Sex on BlackHollywoodLive.com.
From producers Maria Menounos, Dario Kristen, Tiana Hobson, Kevin Undergaro, and the entire BHL crew, we would like to thank you for supporting Black Hollywood Live, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. For questions and comments, contact us at info@blackhollywoodlive.com. Like us on Facebook, tweet us, or Instagram us at BHL Online. And I'm your BHL announcer, Scipio. Instagram me at Planet Scipio. Thank you for tuning in.
The views expressed here are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.
Thanks for watching Black Hollywood Live on YouTube. For more in-depth interviews and news, subscribe to our channel here and be sure to share your opinion in the comment section below here. See you soon, everyone. Bye.